Hey Aquarius, this is your general tarot reading for Aquarius Sun, Moon and Ascendant, rising sign for the month of December. Aquarius, are you making something out of nothing? Well, I certainly hope you are, because this month it's the exact time to get that brilliant Aquarius ingenuity, forward-thinking brilliance working, where you can look around in your life and notice where there's gaps. Gaps to do what? Gaps to make money, perhaps, and gaps to fill that space with something really, really clever and brilliant. As I said, it's time this month to make something out of nothing, something genius out of nothing that will bring you a whole lot of something. And why is all of that happening? Because, you know, for the last period, we talk about this very often, Aquarius, you had, at least for the last 2 years, gone through a bit of a rough patch, a lot of a rough patch. Many of you might have lost jobs, lost family, lost relationships. There was a feeling of, I'm losing everything. Some of you might have thought, I'm losing my bloody mind. I'm losing my marbles here. I just feel like my life, my money, my everything, it's just like somebody's pulled the plug and everything is going down the cosmic drain. What's going on? I can't get ahead. I just feel like I'm falling. With all the energy in the 12th house, there could be many nights where you couldn't sleep, disturbed sleep, or feeling kind of afraid of the future. What's going to happen now? Well, here's what's going to happen now. Anywhere that there's kind of those gaps, those kind of, I don't want to look there, I don't want to focus on that, I don't want to think about that, that's too scary to think about, you're going to fill those gaps with your, as I said, intelligence, but your spark of brilliance that's going to bring something a whole lot better. And the thing I'm saying that because Saturn and Pluto, the usual suspects, are in this 12th house. Some of you over the last 2 years could have found yourself in a kind of deep contemplation, or like feeling that you're forced to contemplate. There's nothing else going on in my life. All I have is my contemplation. For some of you, that was a great pleasure, where you could dive deep into your creativity, your spirituality, kind of create a fantasy life for yourself. For some of you, it was a real, I'm taking control of this and I'm turning my life around to become an artist, to become something, a healer, or just something that's more with the flow here, but some of you have really felt, why try? Because it's going nowhere. And it's changing because Jupiter, the great benefic, the big expander of blessings, this month is moving into that 12th house to make things a whole lot better for you. He's the one that's saying, come on, let's make something out of this. The optimistic one, the bright one. Let's get positive about this. Let's see what we can do. Venus and Mercury are going to be in there for a moment too, until Venus moves into Aquarius on December 20th. So there's big lessons happening for you this month, really, Aquarius. I'll give you an example of what it could be kind of like. I know 2 Aquarians. The first Aquarian is an older Aquarian, and she was raising kids on her own. She had a nice house, 3-bedroom house, but the 2 kids grew up, they've gone to college, they're not coming back to the house. And over the last 2 years, she was feeling really lonely. She was very lonely, and it was kind of, going through a house that was once filled with busyness and things going on and music and TVs and everything. Suddenly it was like tick tock of the wall clock, and she was like, I can't do this anymore. And what did she do? She said, well, I'm not going back to work. She didn't want to do that, so she has 2 extra rooms in her house, and she decided, I want a bit of youth and energy back in this house. she's decided to rent 2 of those bedrooms out to foreign students. And she's already gone into the process. It's already happened. And she's loving the new energy. And I think she likes the whole vibe now. The house feels more like there's life in it. She loves it. The other person I know is a guy, an Aquarian, who wanted to get out of the city over the last 2 years with all the energy in the 12th house. He couldn't cope with the hustle and bustle because 12th house makes you very sensitive, very like, get that kind of energy away from me type of thing. And he sold his apartment and bought a very small house in possibly the remotest area you could find. And then when he arrived there, bought his dream kind of house here out in the middle of nowhere. The work started to dry up. His bank account started to go down. He got into a big major sweat. And what did he do? He filled that gap with his Aquarius genius, and he's going now through the process of getting permission to build a small little kind of lodge, small now, really like a tiny thing, to build it in the back garden. And because it's a beautiful remote area, he's going to promote it as a spiritual place where people can come, and if they want to go for walks in the forest or in the mountains or do some fishing or whatever, and they'll be in total privacy, and he's going to get a rental income from that. So with Venus in there now this month in the 12th house, bringing you the inspiration to make coin from nothing, where there was a great loss, now fill it with ingenuity. You know, it could be a great time where you could get great sparks of wisdom as your first card hops out. Great sparks of wisdom, because the new moon, and this is very often a new moon card, it's also a Pisces card, the new moon solar eclipse, a really big new beginning for you, happening on December 26th in this 12th house. This is very 12th house kind of style card, a real new beginning, where you get these fantastic ideas, Aquarius, how to generate a passive income, where you maybe don't have to work, where you maybe don't have to get back into the city, where it's like, I can use this whole year of 2020 to study, to absorb, to research, to get involved in the nothingness and somehow get paid for it. I can spend all of this time maybe devoting it to learning how to play a musical instrument or learning how to study a certain craft. Maybe healing crafts, I don't know, maybe spiritual crafts, I don't know, maybe even a witchcraft, I don't know, whatever you want to do. There's a feeling of, I'm going to use, hopefully, using 2020 to really completely absorb yourself in something deep, meaningful, purposeful, creative, that just makes your soul sing. And then being blessed by being able to fling, turn a coin with it. So that's huge. Now we also have the full moon this month in Gemini in your 5th house. As this card comes out, as we're talking about this, I feel for some of you that when it comes to money in general, there might be a bit of a panic on. There might be a bit of a sweat, a feeling of, I'm not handling this very well. I'm not handling my budget very well. My bank account seems to be draining. We've talked about this before, but now there's a bit of heat and tension in it this month with the full moon in the 5th house, saying, you know what, if I get myself organized, if I treat my money with more respect and with a better system, where it's not kind of, pay a bit here and then go wild and buy a bunch of stuff there and then panic at the end of the week. This is more like, get a real budget together, get a real handle on what's going on. Go in and snip and trim any unnecessary expenditure and feel like you've some level of control over it. And then, even though that sounds boring, then what you do, because this is part of it, Aquarius, you set up a particular account, a piggy bank, a box, a fund under your sofa, under your mattress, wherever the hell you want to put it, specifically for fun, specifically for entertainment, specifically for just blowing the money. So that's actually a really healthy thing for you to do. If you've control over the money that just gets blown and thrown away on ridiculous stuff, then there'll be no more panic anymore of feeling like your bank account is just hemorrhaging. You know, so it's get control of the money that you're just going to throw on useless crap, or maybe even luxurious stuff. With the full moon in the 5th house, there's an energy of luxury there. I want better clothes. I'm tired of not being able to afford exactly what I want to afford. Now, you never look shabby, Aquarius, never, but there's a feeling of, I want to wear nice clothes. I want to have a nice car. I want to have a quality of something. And this, what I've described, seems to be how you get there, by putting that little budget, a super organized budget that brings better balance into, so the bills are paid. Now let's have some fun with what's left over. Let's indulge, let's treat. And maybe even let's use some of that money to not just do fun things by myself, but maybe fun things with a new lover or a new partner. Or if you're in a relationship, just do fun things with that money. Go to concerts, go on a vacation, just do something. And I know that sounds all very practical, and I thought you were going to say something more exciting than that. Well, maybe there could be something a bit more exciting. With the full moon in the 5th house, the 5th house is a speculative house where you could get a little bit of a win on a flutter. Now, I'm not saying go gamble and lose a bunch of money. You don't need that in your life right now, Aquarius. But it could be like a small, like just a little coin that you can spare, buying a little raffle ticket or something. There could be, I'm not promising anything, but there could be maybe a nice surprise there where there was an unexpected moment of winning something and feeling like, oh, it's worth playing with my money now. It's worth having this level of control over my money, because now I can really experience some of the good things, you know. Now, for those of you that are in a fairly recent relationship and you feel like it's not really gelling, it's not vibing, it's not happening. I thought they were kind of interesting, but it turns out that there's more drama than I can handle with this person. They're nice, but I can't cope. I can't cope with the drama. There might be a moment this month where if it's not working, and if the first few dates really only brought like heavy shit, there's a moment where some of you might say, I'm sorry, but this is not my cup of tea, you know, not for me, thank you, but let's part ways. So that's for some of you, as the moon hopped out, but it came out like that. Other cards came out there. That card, the king. We like to see a king show up. This card, and then that card. Yeah, I'm already even just seeing in the cards here that many of you need that little bit of clarity over your finances and need to start thinking in these brilliant Aquarius kind of mindsets now to make a big decision on making something out of nothing. You know, just relax into it this month. There is that, as the cards are just pouring out as I was talking about that. I can't choose all of them, about 20 of them came out, but it's like, yeah, there is a lot of stress about not having a handle on the money. But sit with it, my love, sit with it, because with all the energy in the 12th house, you could be getting a lot of real kind of, let's even say it, messages, spiritual messages, messages through your dreams, messages from beyond, messages through tarot, through divination, through your meditation. Even if your meditation is just about you going off, putting on your jacket and going off for a walk on your own, it's meditation. In those very, very, very quiet times, get into that energy, because I think that's where you'll have your, oh my God, is it that simple moment. Okay, we need your ingenuity here. We really need it. So Venus is then moving into Aquarius on December 20th. And this is where you start really feeling inspired again to get back involved in making money, but also to start loving what you're doing, loving yourself more, Aquarius. There's obviously some sort of turnaround here to, say, the last part of the month. There's a real moment of, I didn't love myself and I didn't love my life. I didn't like how my life was going. I had no control over way too many things in my life. But now I'm feeling like I'm in a better place. Now I'm starting to, as the last card comes out, enter into a new world and love it. And love it. It's a new beginning, Aquarius. A new beginning. Now, just before I get to the cards, just want to see, is there anything? There's a lot of energy for many of you going into money and work. Very positive flow there with money and work. But if you've got this great idea and you're willing to put the details in, you're willing to get the structure of the plan together, and you're willing to make a big commitment to this, and maybe even put some coin into it, the potential over 2020 for this to become something huge is so ripe, so there. And I just want to say this before I look down to the cards. For many of you, the idea that you might come up with might seem ridiculous. I'm just looking down there at the energy, and I see that you might discuss this plan with maybe certain friends of yours or a group of people or a team in work, and they might ridicule you. They'll say, that's a ridiculous idea. Nobody does that. There's no market for that. How could you sell that? How could you promote that? How could you do that? And they will discourage you. But that means that it's a great idea. If nobody is doing it, then you've got to be the pioneer and make it happen with Mars in the 10th house, the pioneer of carving a new path for your career. Even though other people might not grab your vision this month, that only kind of tells you that it's so forward thinking that they're just not able to grasp it. So you always do best when you've got forward thinking visions. And I feel you're carving some brilliant new path, making something out of nothing and making it big, because you're doing it. And do not listen to the naysayers this month. Do not let them tell you that your idea won't make money or won't do well. They don't get it. But then maybe they're not Aquarians. Maybe they can't see as far as you. So just say, nah, whatever. You know, you just stay doing the same old last decade shit that you're doing there. I'm moving into 2020. It's a new decade. And I'm going to start kicking it off, doing my thing. So let's go over, my love, now to your big grand, ta-da, your overview. New moon. It's a Pisces card. It's a very 12th house card. And you've got the Tower beside it. There's a feeling of outgrowing your fear, outgrowing your phobia, outgrowing this self-doubt. Venus later moving into Aquarius, learning to love yourself and have more confidence in yourself. Okay, so you're going through this transition this month, Aquarius, of it makes no sense anymore to sit and wallow. It makes no sense anymore to just sit in my armchair at home like the woman I said about earlier, listening to the tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock of time passing. That makes no sense. It makes no sense. And you realize that you need to break down the structures of what used to be so you can start being the innovator, being the pioneer in doing something new with your life. And something that I feel strongly hasn't been tried before. I just keep feeling there's a gap. Maybe there's a gap in the market. There's an opportunity. Nobody has seen this. There's a gap. There's a way. There's a way to make money. There's a way to go into 2020. And I now have that little spiritual insight. Remember, there are 3 cards in tarot who have been in the presence of limitless light, the all-knowing energy, say, of the cosmos. She's one, the Fool is the other, and the Magician is the other. And so this is what makes me feel that it's almost like some cosmic download, a real moment. You know those moments, Aquarius, I'm sure you get them being Aquarius, where you just know. You don't know why you know, you don't know how you know, and you don't care. This is just a moment where I know I've got to make something positive, Jupiter going into the 12th house, out of what has been lost. I will fill the gap of nothingness with my brilliance. And I know that's what I have to do. I know it. Now, I just want to say this too. Over the last period, and I think it might get quite intense too this month, Aquarius, of feeling like you have to be the wise counselor to people who are going through crisis, people who are experiencing all types of unusual things in their lives, the loss of jobs, the loss of money, loss of homes, relationships, maybe even people who've lost others in their life and going through the grieving process. There's a feeling of, as I'm entering into this month, I have to take care of one last thing or something or somebody who kind of needs me to be there, not to do anything, but just needs me to be a source of wisdom or a source of comfort or a source of care as they're going through this. So there, excuse me, there does seem to be somebody in your life who's going through something, and as their tower is collapsing, you're showing them a type of spiritual and emotional strength. That's very, very nice. Now, it's a weird feeling this month, because as we enter the month, you might be saying, but I see what you're getting at, She-Bear. I see what you're saying. Okay, so maybe there is a gap. But you know what? I'm tired. I'm tired. You're asking me to put more effort in, to give it one last push. I can't face some of the things that have been going on in my life. I keep myself really busy. Maybe you swamp yourself in work or just anything not to avoid the hard work that's needed to really move on in a really powerful way, slowly, steadily, building a new source of finance for your life, a new structure in your life, and a new powerhouse of strength in your life. You're saying, I don't have the strength to generate strength. I don't have the money to make money. I don't have the resources to gain resources. Go beyond this. 12th house is our deepest, deepest fears that we didn't even know we had. And for you, it's that giving up before you try kind of thing. That's something I want you to look at. Don't give up before you try. You're coming now into 2020 where the blessings, the door of Jupiter, the door's been opened and Jupiter has gone in. He's saying, come on now, let's make something of this and give it the energy, give it one last try. You've Mars in the 10th house. Stand up, stand strong, get out there again. Be somebody, and don't be defeated before you achieve your greatest moment, perhaps, for many of you. So that's something that is obviously going to be one last little shadow in that dark closet that you have to conquer, being defeated before you get anywhere. Mid-month, we've got the full moon on December 12th, and it's the full moon in Gemini in your 5th house. There's a feeling I get here too. There's something not very solid about a few things. For some of you, not very solid about a relationship, not feeling secure within it, not feeling like it's grounded enough or maybe serious enough or deep enough. And there's a kind of, it's almost like I'm seeing something or I'm sensing something, but I don't have any proof of something yet. So we're going down a few different paths now. I feel this. I feel some of you are gathering rock solid proof around the time of the full moon to back up something that you feel. So maybe if you're in a very new relationship and you're not feeling very comfortable with this person, there might be a moment of saying, I have to back this up. It can't be just my spidey senses doing this. I have to back this up with some sort of rock solid, hard proof. Because something is making me uncomfortable about this relationship, this situation, this place, this something. Something is making me uncomfortable. I'm trying to figure that out. It could be coming from a group of people, like a group of friends. not supporting you, not making you feel like that they're hearing what you're saying. They don't get your big dreams. They don't get what you're doing. There's a moment of feeling kind of criticized when you explain that you want to do a new thing in your life, and it's fun, and it's great, and it's bright, and I'm optimistic, and I've gone past my fears. It's the feeling of you can't quite put your finger on it, but you feel like that people are eye-rolling when you say it. And that's an awful thing, because that's a feeling of how dare you do that? I'm trying to get myself solid. I'm trying to build my dreams. I'm trying to get something going in my relationships, in my life, with my health, with my money, whatever. I'm trying to do this. It hasn't been easy for me. And as a friend, you should know this. As somebody that we have usually great conversations about many things, you should be a bit more open-minded about this. But yet you can't quite put your finger on why they're not supporting you. And for me, it's just a feeling of, oh, Aquarius with their crazy ideas again. They just don't have your vision. They're stuck in the last decade. They're stuck, and we're not in that decade anymore. Going into January now, it's a whole new decade. Leave them to it. Leave them to it. I think some of you might also get a little bit annoyed about some friend or somebody that is in a group, might be throwing a little bit of a jealous eye or a kind of a strange eye on something or somebody that you love. That won't ever work for you, Aquarius. That won't ever work for you. That kind of a critical eye, you know? Why do you do it like that? Why are you with that person? What do you see in them? What do you see in this? Who do you think you are to have big visions and big dreams? Why don't you just get a regular job like everybody else? Why don't you just climb the ladder like it was a decade ago? Why don't you just do it this way? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? You have to deal with them. You have to deal with them by getting first very grounded in your own sense of self and saying, if they don't get it, it doesn't matter. I get it, and I'm going to run with it. And you sure are, because it's been too long, Aquarius, where you felt that you couldn't manifest your dreams. And you're usually very gifted at manifesting things, bringing these wonderful ideas that come to you. In many cases, your best ideas aren't the ones that you think up, but the ones that somehow zap into your mind. It's like a flash of sudden inspiration. There's a feeling for the longest time that you weren't able to manifest those dreams, but now you are. This is very fire energy. You've got the sun in Sagittarius, you know, putting energy, putting force into the 11th house, your future. Manifesting something, and manifesting it because you're also breaking another fear, a fear that I've lost my mojo. Nothing is manifesting for me. It's something broken, universe. It's not happening. I can't manifest. It's not happening. That's something else you've got to conquer and fear. It's not lost. You just have to trust more. Trust and get back into the zone of working with it. Maybe some of you have said, I'm giving up on trying to manifest things in my life. It doesn't work. That shit's stupid. It doesn't. They're only selling books when they tell you about that. Don't listen to them. Now, it's time to get that back, Aquarius, because you are so capable of manifesting great things for your future this month. Mars, the other energy there in the 10th house of standing up. Yeah. And then Jupiter in the 12th house of making something from nothing. It just keeps coming back to me, Aquarius, this thing of you'd lost the trust in the flow of the universe. You stopped believing in the magic. You stopped believing in the good things. Now, you might still have some level of belief. I'm not saying that you just stopped everything, but it's the real trust. You know that moment, because everything in the 12th house, Saturn, Pluto, new moon, Venus, Mercury, Jupiter, they're all saying, well, especially Jupiter, well, what have you learned in the 12th house? Have you learned to trust in a dark place when you can't see obvious results, when you can't see how the machine, the big cosmic machine works because you're slightly blinkered to it? Can you still trust it if you're blindfolded? Can you still trust it if you can't see it? Can you still trust your big success for 2020 and onwards, even though there's no evidence of it right now? Can you? Can you? Because Jupiter is the one who experiences something and then gets great wisdom because of it. So are you wiser now because you've been through those I can't see where I'm going moments and still trust? Well, if you are, then prepare yourself because the blessings will come. Sorry, Aquarius, I had to stop there because my doorbell rang. So sorry about that. It's like ding dong. Yeah, I'm reading Aquarius here. Can you just please disappear, out of the way? So let me just continue anyway. Sorry. So we're coming towards the end of the month, Aquarius, and this is Sagittarius season. This is a Sagittarius card, and I see you. Maybe there is a Sagittarius. There's strong energy this month with Pisces, Cancer, and now Sagittarius. There's a feeling of being in two minds about something, not being able to make a decision maybe with a Sagittarius about something. That's for some of you. But in Sagittarius season, it's the feeling of just, how can I make sense of so many things that have been going on for me right now in my life? How am I supposed to think now? How am I supposed to think? Well, we know you're supposed to think more optimistically, but I do feel for some of you, there's a great feeling of putting a lot of force and determination into getting the best out of this season. Force and determination, maybe with not just one idea, but maybe even two new brilliant ideas that are brought this month, but all done with a sense of optimism. That's what I feel at the end of the month. There's a feeling of, but I could do this, and then I could do that, and then I might try that. Which one would I choose? How would I choose? So there's a kind of, what do I pick? So you're like a kid in a candy store. From having nothing, you're now beginning to make something out of this nothing. But now the problem is, what do I do? What do I do? You just stay calm, you stay cool, you stay lit, but you stay optimistic, because that's what I feel. I feel the Jupiter energy at the end of the month is just going to light it up for you, light up these great ideas. And not to get overwhelmed by it, because this is Moon and Libra card. Don't get knocked off balance and say, oh, this is all too much to try to balance in my current life. These are great ideas, but how could I make that happen in my life right now? And how could I do it? And how could I balance it? Just stay lit. Just stay optimistic. And just trust, and don't be defeated before you get anything off the ground. Just keep up, 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 up. And I never even touched upon this. I was going to say, for some of you, you're getting very organized to have fun with your health, with your exercise. And I did say to you earlier on, meditation, because it's in these empty moments of your mind that you get these real inspiring moments. So get organized and get out walking, but doing something fun, exercising, doing something fun. Join some sort of, class, like a fitness class that's very motivational, that's very high energy, or that's very, it keeps the fire lit in you. Or the opposite, get very determined and motivated to spend a lot of time in a very peaceful place or a quiet place. One or the other will work. You're shutting off the mind. You're shutting it off by being physically active and doing something else. And you're shutting off the mind maybe by sitting in a park somewhere and just totally just being open. If you do that, that helps with the optimism. It helps with getting your mind clear. And it helps remove some of the panic of what to do with all of these great ideas now, Are we just seeing here the King of Coins sitting beside the World card? I mean, Aquarius, are we? Are we really? Really, what's going to be transforming for you, big style. Seems to be your confidence and your security and a feeling of solidity coming back in your life, getting your game back on, going back out there and building something of your own, build something for yourself. Some of you might be really interested in making an empire as we go into 2020 and get very wealthy because of it. Wonderful. Some of you might just say, do you know what? It's more important for me that I do this thing and make a bit of coin from it, but it's all supposed to just make me feel like my life is grounded again. One or the other, whichever you choose, you're both blessed. They are both blessed. Get into this new world. And again, coming back to this thing, there is something on your doorstep. And unfortunately, because the 12th house is very often our blind spots, we don't notice it. We talked about this, I think, in October. There's something right in front of you, Aquarius. And the more you turn down that chatter in your mind and the more optimistic you become and get rid of some of that heavier energy, then the more you'll notice this thing. For many of you, it could be a lot to do with your home that you live in, like that lady I spoke to you about who has 2 extra bedrooms that she's now renting out. There's something right in front of your nose. And give the space this month to say, I can use this house, I can use this garage, I can use that little warehouse that my family don't use anymore. I can use my car and do part-time driving, couriering, something. I can use what I have. It's right in front of me and get this going. And there, my love, there is where the goddess, the Sumerian goddess Inanna, finally comes out of the hell that she's been in and looks over her shoulder. My guess often, every time I see her looking over her shoulder, I think she might have spat at them. I'm not coming back here, you know. Maybe she did, maybe she didn't. We'll never get the full story out of these cards, you know. But there's a feeling of, and you'll never see me again because I'm off and I'm making bigger things out of my life. Aquarius, this is the threshold. This is where we're standing. Plant the seeds now, and as it rolls out through the beginning of this new decade, the work, the investment, the optimism, the trust in your new options and ideas, despite what anybody else is saying, you're going to see it all pay off for you. Maybe not December, probably certainly not in December, but we begin now. So Aquarius, let's end this by beginning. So I'm going to leave it at that, my love. As always, you know that these are just the general energies. What I want you to do is come to the very last Vimeo reading of the decade. Yeah, come over and we go in and dig deep in the deep readings. The link is down there below. You'll see it. Click into it. Come over and we'll open up the month of December. We'll go right into your relationships. The singles will figure out if Sagittarius season is bringing you love this month. Full moon in the 5th house might be bringing some new feelings there between you and somebody else. We're going to talk about your money and your career. We're going to talk about your home, your family, friends, and everything we don't touch upon here, my love. We're going to go deep in the deep read on Vimeo. Click in, come over. I'll see you over there. But if not, I'm going to leave you, as always, with a happy holidays for those of you who are celebrating the holiday seasons. And I'll leave you with all my love. As usual, as usual, as usual, even though 2020 is going to be very unusual. So, as usual, I will leave you my love and an unusual kiss for luck. Aquarius, until next month, my beauty. Bye.